The market square bustled with life, merchants shouting prices, horses clattering over cobblestones, and the smell of roasted nuts drifting through the air. Lily tugged at her grandfather's sleeve, pointing at a stall filled with fruit.
Look, Grandpa, dragon fruits.
The vendor, a round-bellied man with a beard like braided rope, sliced one open. The inside glowed a deep ruby red.
Why is it called a dragon fruit?
The vendor winked, because only the bravest souls eat it.
Well, I am brave.
The grandfather bought one, and the children each took a bite. Their eyes widened at the sweetness.
It tastes like fire and sugar. Like something magical.
Now that reminds me of a story, one that began with a ghost from my past and a mistake in the guilt which I carried for years.
The children leaned in as the market noise softened around them, and they eagerly anticipated their grandfather's story.
His name was Cale Thornwind, and we fought side by side for years, but during a siege long ago, I was forced to choose between saving him or saving a village. I chose the village.
But Cale thought you abandoned him.
Yes, even though I scoured the battlefield for hours, I never found him. Thinking that he had perished in the fierceness of the battle, I mourned him like a brother. For years, that grief sat heavy in my chest. Then one day, a traveler arrived, carrying a scroll of parchment with a seal.
Max leaned forward as he kept munching on the dragon fruit.
It only said, "Come to the ruins of Manipulant and come alone." A no name, no explanation. But the seal, the handwriting, the way the ink cut into the parchment, it felt familiar, like a voice from a distant past which I hadn't heard in years.
It was Cale.
I didn't dare hope, but I couldn't ignore it either. The ruins of Manipulanton lay many days to the south of the Gulf of Geronimo. It is said that an evil queen who schemed and used her subjects once ruled there. However, when her lies finally caught up with her, her entire realm collapsed and the fertile soil turned to desert. So I crossed the desert for days, braving the blistering heat and the frigid nights, following nothing but instinct and the memory of a friend I thought I'd lost forever. And when I reached the ruins, I learned the truth. Cale Thornwind hadn't died that day. No, all the years of resentment and bitterness had changed him into a grotesque abomination of the friend I once loved so dearly. Stepping from behind a broken pillar, he emerged, hardened by bitterness with eyes full of hatred. Before I could speak, the ground trembled. Cale had devised a devious plan. He had lured me to the ruins because beneath them slumbered their ancient guardian, a dragon who had been asleep for 1,000 years. Cale had awoken him and fed him his vicious poison.
What kind of poison?
A twisted lies and distortions meant to turn the dragon against me. He had told the dragon that I had come to steal its power and treasure, that I had abandoned him, that I was a destroyer.
The sounds of the market faded around them as the grandfather's story pulled the children further into its ban.
Towering before me like a mountain, the dragon's eyes were ablaze with a fury that wasn't its own. A blast of fire meant for me shattered the stillness of the ruins. I dove behind a fallen pillar, heat scorching the air around me. But even while dodging flames, I kept speaking to the creature.
You spoke to the dragon?
Yes, because if I didn't, Cale's lies would become the truth. I shouted through the blazing inferno, "I don't want your power. Power taken is power cursed." The dragon hesitated, just for a heartbeat, but in a creature that old, a heartbeat is a crack in a mountain. Cale saw it, and something inside him broke. Cale had observed us and realized that I was making headway with the dragon. The rage inside him swelled and he screamed at the dragon to strike. The pain he had carried for so many years had turned into hatred. But the dragon didn't strike, he merely looked at us puny humans. And Cale, he snapped. Realizing that the dragon wouldn't obey his commands, he charged at me. Sprinting across the shattered stones and rubble, eyes wild, weapon raised high. There was no strategy left in him, only blind fury, the kind that burns hotter than any desert sun. He came at me like a storm, not to injure me, but end me. Blinded by years of hatred, he charged at me. He braced myself for the blow. I knew that even after all these lies, I couldn't kill my former brother. Not after all the years we'd shared. But the dragon saw something else entirely. The dragon reacted. Its chest expanded, its throat ignited, and a blast of fire tore across the ruins, bright enough to turn the world white. Cale never reached me. When the flames faded, the sand where he had stood was blackened. The last trace of a man consumed not by the dragon's hatred, but by his own. The dragon lowered its head toward me, not as a threat, but as a question. One word, he only spoke one word.
What was the question?
Why?
The market bustled around them, but the children barely noticed.
I told him the truth, that I had been summoned by a ghost, that I came because I believed someone needed me, that I sought no power, no throne, no treasure. With the wisdom of 1,000 years, the ancient beast studied me. Then the fire in its chest dimmed and its wings settled. Slowly it lowered itself to the sand, a gesture older than any language, an invitation.
You rode the dragon?
He did. We left the ruins together, two beings who had every reason to fear each other, choosing trust instead.
And you became friends.
Yes, friends forged in fire and in truth.
Max took another bite of dragon fruit. Lily held hers like a treasure.
But Grandpa, do you think the dragon still remembers you?
The grandfather looked out across the market, and the old bond between them steered within his chest.
Oh, he remembers. Dragons never forget anything. Sometimes I even feel that he's watching out for me.
Skies unknown, Steelthunder walks the path alone. The call of fate, the clash of steel, his story forged in fire and steel.